everyone, welcome back to Intervex, your robotics guide to excellence. In this episode, we're doing something special. We're doing an interview around the topic of engineering notebook. Notebooking is very important in competitions as it not only records your journey but also supports you in winning awards. And this time, we're here with Katie from 66799Z to hear about her journey and how she notebooked her way through Vex. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so let's start with part one with the questions talking about Katie's information and background. First question, can you introduce yourself and tell us how long you've been in Vex?
Hi everyone, my name is Katie and I am a former member of Team 66799Z. My role in the team is mainly doing the documentation for the engineering notebook, and I have competed in 3 Vex IQ seasons: Slapshot, Fall Volume, and Rapid Relay.
Yeah, that's a lot of experience. Yay! Okay, so what was the first Vex season you've participated in, and what made you decide to join?
So the first Vex season I participated in was Slapshot, which was the 2023 to 2024 season. From the very start, I knew Vex because of my younger brother. He participated in the 2021 to 2022 pitching in season, and I supported him all the way through that season. His team during the pitching in season also got qualified to the World Championship and won the Excellence Award.
Oh, yes! And I was also in the Pitching in World Championship, and I witnessed the moment your brother's team got the World's Excellence Award.
Yay!
It's very impressive!
However, I wasn't able to attend a competition in the US to support him due to the COVID pandemic during that time. After he came back, he kept telling me how incredible and amazing the experience was, and that really sparked my curiosity. Not long after, I was invited to join the team as a documenter for the following season, and that's where my own Vex journey began.
Alright, so let's move on to part 2 with the questions about Katie's notebook journey and how she worked with her team. Were you the only main notebooker, and how did other teammates help with the notebook?
Yes, I was the main notebooker in the team. The other teammates contributed to the notebook by providing me with updates on the robot build, coding, and testing data and results. We would have a lot of team meetings to make sure our engineering notebook was detailed, complete, and comprehensive.
Oh, yes, and meetings are a very good way to connect members and discuss recent progresses. And notebooking is not only about writing, but also connecting different roles together and helping the team members understand what they are doing, right?
Truly agreed.
Yay!
Yay!
It's a very important role. So, how did you keep track of everything the team was doing so you could document it accurately?
We will have several team meetings for keeping up updates. Even if we weren't able to meet in person, we will still do online meetings to keep track of our progress. Because organizing and documenting the actual notebook needed to be very clean, neat, and have no errors. Therefore, we will first put notes along with the pictures of the robots and codings in the Google Doc as a draft, then document and organize them in the actual engineering notebook.
That's actually a really smart method. For me, it was always really hard to keep track of everything happening in practices because the robot's progress is usually faster than writing, right?
Yes.
Yes. So it's very difficult and you'll always have a lot of work to do.
That's absolutely true.
Moving on. What kind of challenges did you face when you first started notebooking, and how did you overcome them?
At the very beginning, I was totally new to Vex. I had zero knowledge in robot building, coding, or any robot mechanisms. Therefore, I thought it was super difficult for me to write a good notebook. And because of that, it took me a lot of time to write a notebook in the beginning.
Oh, so did you research online for Vex Knowledge's references at the time, or how did you solve that?
No, I did not research anything online about robot mechanisms or any concepts in Vex. So I am especially very thankful and grateful of my teammates who were willing to help me understand every concept in terms of competition, robot designing, building, coding, and anything you could possibly think of that can be documented in an engineering notebook.
So it seems like your team is very well balanced and supports each other.
Yes, we do!
Yay! Moving on. So if you were to advise a starter team and give advice to them, what would you say?
If I were to advise to start a team regarding notebooks, I would say start early. I would suggest starting your notebook right after the previous season ended so you will not end up having like so much workload to the end of last minute before the competition.
Oh, yes. I also find that very important because there are actually many sections that can be written before you actually start the competition and robot design and everything. For example, like game rules and also team composition and stuff like that, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So document and plan your sequence beforehand so it'll be easier for you. Alright, after all your experiences, what's one thing you wish you had known earlier in your VEX journey?
One thing that I wish I had known earlier is that I wish I could understand about robot building and mechanisms and everything about the VEX competition a lot earlier before my first VEX season started. So I would not have to spend like tons of time during the season to understand those concepts, while I would already be able to work on my actual notebook a lot faster and more efficient.
So, as a notebooker, IntroVEX is very important for them as well, right?
Yeah.
Self-promotion, okay.
In IntroVEX, Jin is very amazing. She provides any information you need or any information you request. And yeah.
Yay!
Yay!
Alright. In your VEX journey, there's definitely something that you find that is most meaningful to you that you've learned throughout the season, right? And
Definitely.
what would it be?
So despite only working on the engineering notebook in a team, VEX really means a lot to me. Throughout these years, I learned not only about robots and the competition itself, but also about working with different people, communication, and sportsmanship, which are all essential skills that can be applied to other events in the future. Another best part about VEX is that I also met a lot of different friends all over different places from the competitions, which we always support and help each other throughout the seasons. In addition, I learned so much about how I can improve and reflect on myself and grow as a person through my experiences these years. After all these experiences, I feel extremely delighted and honored to be a part of the VEX community.
Yes, I think a lot of VEX players also find this as very meaningful to connect with different people and meet different people. Let's move on to part 3 about the format and samples of Katie's engineering notebook. So first of all, did you use paper, digital writing, or typed format for your engineering notebook, and why did you choose that?
So I used paper handwriting notebook for all 3 seasons. Even though this kind of format takes a lot of time to write, draw, sketch, or input pictures inside a notebook, but I think this way it will make a really good impression on the judges because they can see that you put a lot of effort into it because since it's handwrite and you do everything hands-on.
Yes.
But however, digital notebooks also works the same, and this is just my personal preference.
Yeah, so even though there are a lot of notebooking methods, they are all judged in the same way. So if you have a preferred one, like digital or paper, just go for it and try it out, and it's nice.
Great!
So could you walk us through your notebook structure or table of contents, and how did you organize everything?
First of all, for the table of contents, I categorized them into different parts accordingly to the design process. So each of them will have a different color code, and each part in the table of contents, for example, research is the whole section, and define idea is another 2 sections. I think this way it can be very clear for the reader to find what you're trying to find in your notebook.
Yeah, I think so too. So instead of writing every page one by one, I think categorizing it makes both the judges and also yourself better to understand what you're currently writing. Okay, so would you be willing to show a few sample pages you're really proud of and what makes them special to you?
So one of the parts in my notebook that I think is pretty special and unique is our team profile. So, because for our team profile, we have one whole entire page for one member, which we introduce our name, role in the team, And we have a pretty big paragraph for our self-introduction, and under it, we put our goal for our season beneath it.
That's actually very important because at the start of each notebook, there's definitely needed to be an introduction about the team and also the team members. And having that being very unique is very cool.
So another part is that I believe like most of people think brainstorming is before the actual robot building process, like the robot building section, but brainstorming can also be written within the robot building process. Like for example, like when you're building a new prototype and you're gonna brainstorm like a new robot structure, and you can also like brainstorm several of them, and which these pages show like explanation, descriptions, advantages, disadvantages, and sketch of different ideas, which can clearly show about like your brainstorming process.
Yeah, so the whole engineering design process is not defined into only the sequence, but you can intersect different sections together as well if it makes your robot design process better.
I think for this page, I think labeling is actually quite essential for your notebook layout. So the reader who is reading your notebook can clearly see that the pages, like the sections that you're labeled and with highlighted words.
Okay, last question. What's your favorite pen or tool to use when documenting? Because some pens are not really good and consistent.
So, like since I use like paper handwriting notebook, like I work on my notebook on paper, I always use like Muji. I think that's very like the Lincoln
Oh,
0.5
yeah,
ones.
yeah.
It's very I really like how it came out, and yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yay! So
Yay.
Katie actually used that pen to write every single notebook, right?
Yeah, since my first season to the last season, and I have collected all pens.
Very nice. Okay, so that's about it for today's interview. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your notebook journey. I'm sure your insights will inspire a lot of teams out there. Also, comment down below if you like this kind of content. Until next time, this is Introvex, your guide to excellence. See you next time. Bye bye.
Also, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for Introvex.
Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you.